Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zoe if you are new, and if you're not new, welcome back. How's it going? In this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 different tips on how I started waking up at 5 a.m., how I continue to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day, and how I changed my morning routine so I actually enjoy waking up at 5 a.m. If you have tried and failed many times to start waking up earlier or to change your morning routine in any meaningful way, this video is definitely for you. With the introductions being taken care of, let's get into the meat of the video. Starting with tip number one is to start with a very strong why. Like, why do you want to get up at 5 a.m. in the first place? Is it to have more time alone? Is it to work on a business? Is it to get some morning exercise in? It's going to be challenging. You're going to face some struggles if you want this to be a lifestyle change and to have this habit stick for the long term. And having a strong reason to do something is super important. So for myself, I knew that something was like slightly off with my life. I knew that I wasn't living up to my full potential, but I didn't necessarily know like what the next steps were. I knew what my goals were, but I didn't know what to do about them. And so I randomly one day picked up the book, The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, decided on a whim to start my own 5 a.m. journey. And at that point, I hadn't even made it that far into the book to realize that he recommends you do the challenge of waking up at 5 a.m. every single day for 66 days, which I'm so glad that I ended up starting it before I got to that point, because I don't think that I would have started if I realized that that was actually the challenge. I'm so glad that I did start waking up earlier, because it has actually completely changed my life. It's changed my motivation. It's changed my productivity. It's changed my fitness and my health. I've lost weight. Like, so many good things have come out of this tiny little habit change of getting up earlier. And honestly, when I first started, my why had nothing to do with like productivity or any of those other goals. My biggest why was, I know that I can do more. I know that I'm meant for more, and this is the habit that I want to start with. I want to prove to myself that I can actually stick with something. And that why has carried me through so many of the like challenging mornings, especially those first few weeks where it's so difficult. It's so dark out. It's the middle of winter. It was not easy to get up at 5 a.m. But having that why in mind really helped me stick with it. Tip number two is a little bit more practical, and that is to just move your alarm clock across the room or to somewhere where you have to get out of bed to turn it off. I actually use a physical alarm clock. I don't use my phone, so that I can put it somewhere in my room where it's not easy to grab and hit snooze on at 5 a.m. when I'm super tired and disoriented and don't know what I'm doing. And once you're out of bed, once you're standing, it's so much easier to stay up and out of bed. It's so much easier to not go back to sleep. So I highly recommend that you take your alarm clock, whether it's your phone or a physical alarm clock, set somewhere that's like not in your bed. By the way, physical alarm clocks are so cheap. You can get them at secondhand stores. You can get them for like $10. You don't need a hatch. You don't need something super fancy. Your phone will work. Which leads me into tip number two, which is do not hit that snooze button. I know how easy it is to grab your phone or smash that snooze button on your alarm clock. The moment I hit that snooze button, it's over. The thing is, you don't actually go back to sleep and get like good quality sleep when you're hitting your snooze button. All you do is get very poor quality sleep and slowly wake your brain up so that it's able to negotiate with you. I actually find that waking up at 5 a.m. is easier than waking up at like 8 a.m. with an alarm clock, because at 8 a.m. I'm a little bit more awake, especially if I'm hitting snooze for an hour. At 5 a.m. my brain isn't awake enough to argue with me. Like, I'm dealing with lizard brain at 5 a.m. and so there's no negotiating with it. I either get out of bed or I don't. And if I don't hit that snooze button, I'm getting out of bed. There's no back and forth with myself on like, oh, maybe I should just get more sleep. Like, oh, you know, getting up isn't even going to be productive. I'm going to be too tired. Like, there is none of that because my brain is still super asleep. So seriously, within the first 5 seconds of your alarm clock going off, get out of that bed, because once you're out of bed, you're not going to get back in it and go back to sleep. I also sleep with my partner. So this leads me into tip number four, which is to get an accountability buddy. And there's two ways you can do this. You can get an accountability buddy that's actually getting up with you at 5 a.m. You text them or you FaceTime them, or maybe it's your partner and you guys are both getting up, and that's super great. If you don't have anybody crazy enough to wake up with you at 5 a.m. like I don't, my husband definitely doesn't want to get up at 5 a.m. but I have roped him into being my unsuspecting accountability buddy. Because I sleep in the same bed with him, I don't want to disturb him. He works very hard and I don't want to mess up his sleep schedule. So when that alarm goes off on the other side of our room, I am getting up because I don't want him having bad quality sleep for the next couple of hours while I'm up doing what I want to do. So you bet that I am up out of that bed, turning that alarm clock off as fast as I possibly can so that I don't disturb him. And because I care about him, that's instant motivation for me to get out of bed. Tip number 5 is to have a plan for the mornings. Your brain will convince you that sleep is actually more productive than getting up if you don't have something for it to do immediately upon waking. So you may have seen, if you've watched any of my 5 a.m. vlogs, that I have a very set schedule of like timelines and tasks that I want to get done in the morning. And that's not because I want to like lock myself into like a rigid schedule by any means. That was because I needed a schedule and something to do every single morning so that I didn't have to think about what I was doing next at 5 a.m. when my brain was so tired that all it wanted to do was sleep. Having a plan removed the mental load. I didn't have to think about what I was going to do next. I just had to look at my list or look at my schedule. I just followed the routine. I'll put my actual morning schedule on the screen so you can see what it looked like. Now this did change a little bit throughout the 66 days, and that's totally fine, but I didn't change it in the mornings. I changed it in the evenings so that in the mornings there was no negotiating, there was no talking myself out of something. I was just simply doing the tasks, simply going through the motions, which when you're starting to build a habit is all you need to do. Tip number 6 is to build a solid evening routine. I can't stress this enough. What you do in the evening is just as important as waking up at 5 a.m. You need to be prepped at 5 a.m. And that can mean different things depending on your lifestyle. For me, it meant setting up my clothes, making sure that I had all of my task adjacent items like my books, my journals, my headphones, all ready to go, all set out the night before. I also really recommend getting off your phone as early in the night as possible. I tend to not look at my phone past like 8 p.m. And then I also try and get in bed really early. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm asleep really early, especially in the early part of the challenge. My sleep schedule was completely different than it is now. I was used to going to bed at like midnight or 1 a.m. And so switching it up to try and go to bed at like 9 or 9:30 definitely wasn't going to happen super early on. But if you can at least get in bed early at 9 or 10 and start like, reading a book or meditating or any of those kind of like more slower tasks, and that means staying off your phone, you'll find that you'll actually be able to fall asleep way quicker than you think you're going to be able to. And of course, this isn't medical advice, but melatonin really helped me the first few nights of the challenge. Now it's the next morning and you finally have woken up at 5 a.m. Congratulations, good job, I'm cheering for you. First thing I want you to do is whatever is easiest. Whatever is the easiest task on the list of things that you want to accomplish that morning, do that one first. So for me, that's walking on my walking pad. I enjoy walking, so it's never like a chore for me to spend 15-20 minutes on my walking pad. I pull it out, it's all ready to go, and then I just walk, and I'll turn on the TV and pair it with something cozy, like walking through Hogwarts or Skyrim. I really love the Skyrim soundtracks. I love those like cozy ambiance videos as well. Or if I'm feeling like completely out of sorts or like really unmotivated, I'll put on a YouTube video. Like seriously, make it as easy to build this habit as you possibly can. Walking also helps me wake up my body. Any little bit of exercise I find is really helpful in the morning, just to sort of like wake up your body, wake up your mind. I do know that some people like to meditate first thing in the morning. I have no idea how they do that. I feel like that is like just asking to fall back asleep, but I mean, do whatever works for you. The point is, don't do something that you're dreading first thing in the morning. If you really want to go to the gym in the mornings, but you feel like that's such a hurdle to get over, to get dressed, to pack up your gym bag, to drive to the gym, to go to the gym, like if that just feels like way too much, don't start with that. You can build your 5 a.m. habit as you go. I do want to start going to the gym in the morning. I haven't made it there yet. I've been doing this 66 days. I have not been able to incorporate that into my mornings yet. I'm still sticking with my walking pad and 20 minutes of yoga in the morning, and that's all I can handle right now. Not to say that I'm not going to challenge myself in the future and start going to the gym, but if that feels like too much for you to start, then don't start with that. Don't try and build too many habits all at once. Start with the foundation, the base habit, which is waking up at 5 a.m., and you can build from there. Now, I know I just said that I watch YouTube when I'm walking on my walking pad, and I have no problem if you want to do that too, but I would recommend staying off your phone for every other app. My YouTube is connected to my TV, so I don't actually have to pick up my phone in order to be able to turn it on. Don't get sucked into scrolling on shorts, pick a long form video, stick with it, and especially stay off of like other social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram and email. You don't need to burden your brain with that so early in the morning. Stick with stuff that feels good, stick with stuff that's productive, stick with stuff that's not going to put you in a mood that you don't want to be put into. Tip number 9 is to reward yourself. You've done something really hard. Getting up at 5 or 6 or 7 when you're used to getting up much, much later is hard. You deserve to treat yourself and reward yourself, not only from a purely you're doing an amazing job standpoint, but also rewards help build positive associations in our brain. When you get a reward, you release a little bit of dopamine, and that dopamine helps solidify the habit loop. When I was first starting this challenge, rewards were so big for me. I would make sure that I had something booked on the weekend that I was really looking forward to and that I would only allow myself to go to if I woke up every single day. For me, those were things like pedicures and massages or a new book or a new journal, but for you, it might be something different. I also recommend trying to incorporate daily rewards as well, so don't just focus on the big, maybe a little bit more expensive weekly or monthly rewards. Focus on the daily things too, and those can be super simple. I still to this day use coffee in the morning as a reward for myself. I love a good cup of coffee, so I will buy myself nice Nespresso pods and good coffee syrup so that when I'm done my walk and my yoga, I get a really nice hot cup of coffee. I also use takeout as a reward and as a tool for myself when I first started this challenge. So the first day that I woke up at 5 a.m., there was no way that I was going to cook. So I told myself that if I woke up at 5 a.m. that morning, that I could order butter chicken from my favorite Indian restaurant at the end of the day, that I didn't have to cook. So I found that really helpful as well. But if you can get your brain to associate waking up at 5 a.m. with something fun and good, you've built a habit. Tip number 10 builds a little bit on the reward idea, and that is to plan to take a nap. Taking a nap either later in the day or later in the week is definitely not cheating. You're not failing if that's what you need to do. I love sleep. Like, I am obsessed with sleep. I love sleeping in on the weekends. So giving that up felt like a real loss. So what got me through and still gets me through the week is telling myself that I can have a nap on Saturday or Sunday afternoon. It's something that I can hold on to at 5 a.m. and tell myself that you may be tired right now, and yes, you're getting up at 5 a.m. every single day, but on Saturday at 11:30, you're going to have a nice 2-hour period of time where you can take the best, most luxurious nap of your life. You'd be surprised at how little naps I actually ended up taking during this challenge, but just knowing that I had that there as the option was super helpful mentally. So now that you've heard my 10 tips, was waking up at 5 a.m. for 66 days worth it? Yes. I think you can probably tell that yes, it's definitely worth it. It's been so beneficial to my mental health. I'm way more productive. I have way more time for myself. I have way more energy to pour into things that I actually care about. Like starting this YouTube channel, I don't think that I would have been so consistent and so able to continue with making these videos if I wasn't getting up at 5 a.m. It allows me to put myself before anybody else. So when I was waking up at 8:15, starting work at 8:30, I had zero time for myself, and I was just pouring any little bit of energy that I had right into work. I only have a limited amount of willpower in the day, and it's like a muscle. So the more you use it throughout the day, the less of it you have near the end of your day. And I was finding that when I would get off work at 5 p.m., I would have so little willpower left to do the things that I knew I wanted to do, that I knew I should do for my health, for my well-being, for my lifestyle, and to get closer to my dream life. But I just wasn't able to do it. I wasn't able to force myself to always get to the gym or to make healthy eating choices. By getting up at 5 a.m., I'm able to front load a lot of those tasks. I'm able to front load a lot of my exercise. I'm able to front load working on my goals. I do a lot of editing in the morning. I feed my mind with positive books and meditation, and I journal, and all of those other good habits have built on the habit of getting up at 5 a.m. because I'm able to spend the time and to spend the willpower on myself. I'm not saying that you have to get up at 5 a.m. for 66 days every single day, but I will say doing that for such a long period of time was absolutely incredible. It was never a period of time where I was like, again, negotiating with myself. I knew I was going to do it for 66 days. That's what I promised myself, so that's what I was going to stick with. Near the end, my tasks did get a little bit boring. I did need to spend some time thinking about, spicing my mornings up a little bit. Other than that, there was very few downsides to waking up every single day at 5 a.m. for 66 days. I can 100% say yes, I will be keeping this up. If you watch my vlogs, you'll have heard me say that I'm not going to get up at 5 a.m. on Sundays. And I probably won't. I really do want to go back to having at least one day where I can be like cozy and sleep in with my husband and my dog. And I have really missed that during the challenge. But every other day, I'm definitely going to continue getting up at 5 a.m. It's been such a great change for so many aspects of my life. I think I'd be crazy to stop it now. I hope these tips have helped you on your journey to waking up a little bit earlier and start giving into yourself before the world takes what it needs from you. If you are considering starting your 5 a.m. journey, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to support you, love to cheer you on. I love hearing from you guys. I love to hear your struggles. I love to hear what your morning routine looks like so I can get some inspiration for myself too. And if you did like this video, please give it a like. It really does support my channel. I post every single Sunday, and then I will sprinkle in a few bonus videos throughout the month too. So if you like this type of video, if you like vlogs, if you like manifestation, mindset, habits, please consider subscribing as well. Thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.